against corruption is the duty of every citizen. Nigeria is a country of very religious people, and religious leaders play a vital role in shaping the character of members of their religious groups.
It is the duty of religious bodies to publicly declare to their members that corruption is unacceptable in the society. Thus, the role of religious leaders cannot be overemphasized in the fight against corruption. This they can achieve because they have a ready platform in the various services conducted in churches and mosques.
Today on Corruption Must Go, we shall be looking at religion as a veritable tool in combating corruption. We also have anti-corruption stories around the world and other exciting segments. Welcome to Corruption Must Go, ICPC's weekly television program. We are glad you could join us. I am Hawasani Garba.
And I am Murna Barnabas Atiai.
They say every day is for the thief, one day for the owner of the house. But ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission, has reversed the role. It is now every day for the owner of the house. If you're involved in bribery, over-invoicing, or any shady deal, the day of reckoning has come. ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission, is watching you. If you're reported for any corrupt practice, you'll be investigated, prosecuted, and punished. Corruption is harmful to our nation. Join the campaign against it by reporting any corrupt practice to ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission.
Let we join hands with ICPC, make them better. Let's make Nigeria great again. ICPC, they want you. And for corruption.
Break the chain of corruption now. Don't give, don't take. This message is brought to you by ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission.
Welcome to this segment of your program, Corruption Must Go. The Nigeria Financial Intelligence Unit, NFIU, has donated information communication technology equipment to ICPC in appreciation of its commitment and hard work in the fight against corruption. The director of NFIU, Mr. Francis Usani, made a presentation of the equipment, which included HP computer, a scanner, and a printer on behalf of the Intergovernmental Action Group Against Money Laundering in West Africa and the European Union to the chairman of ICPC, Mr. Ekbonta, at the Commission's headquarters recently. According to Mr. Usani, the Commission's approach to the fight against corruption is holistic, meticulous, and sustainable. Therefore, it needs to be encouraged and supported by all stakeholders. Receiving the donation on behalf of the Commission, Mr. Ekbonta expressed his profound gratitude to NFIU for the gifts and promised to deploy them in improving the operations of ICPC.
The Nigerian Postal Service, NIPOST, in collaboration with ICPC and other anti-corruption agencies in Kano, has unveiled postal stamps bearing short anti-corruption messages to promote awareness among Nigerians. The Postmaster General of the Federation, Barrister Bisi Adebui, who was represented by the Deputy Postmaster General, Human Resources NIPOST, Chebirindahi, launched the postal stamp in Kano recently, said it was to further drive the anti-corruption fight to a higher height as the usage of the stamps on a daily basis cuts across all strata of society. The Kano State Governor, Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduji, in his remark at the ceremony said, the fight against corruption was indispensable as no society could develop without fighting corruption among its citizenry. The chairman of ICPC, Mr. Ekbonta, who was represented by Zonal Commissioner Northwest, Mr. Shehu Yahaya, expressed the belief that the stamps would raise the consciousness of Nigerians against corruption and aid the Commission in educating the people on and against corruption, as well as enlisting and fostering their support in the fight against corruption.
ICPC has arraigned the managing director of an investment company and his company before Honorable Justice A.S. Adepoju of High Court 30 of the Federal Capital Territory sitting in Wuse for alleged forgery, making false statements and submission of fake documents in a bid to secure a contract from the federal government. The accused person, Engineer Olayiwola Ayeni, as well as his company, Joma Investment Limited, was alleged to have submitted forged tax clearance certificates for the year 2010, 2011 and 2012, with false figures which were purportedly issued by the Federal Inland Revenue Service to scale a pre-qualification bid. As part of the bidding process for a contract, all bidding companies must indicate their turnover figures for previous years as evidence that they have the capability to carry out such a contract. In the light of this, Engineer Ayeni jacked up the turnover figures of his company because it did not meet the threshold. The defendant and the company were therefore charged on 3 counts for submitting false documents to the Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Works, Power and Housing. Their actions were contrary to and punishable under Section 17 and 25 of the Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Act 2000. The defendant pleaded not guilty to the charge leveled against them and were granted bail in the sum of 5 million naira, with a surety in like sum who must be an officer not below grade level 15 in the Federal Civil Service. That's all from this segment. Corruption Must Go continues.
Let's we join hands with ICPC, make them better. Let's make Nigeria great again. ICPC, they want to. I want hand for corruption. Corruption not in my country.
Welcome to Studio Airline.
Oh, thank you. Please, we need ticket to Abuja. Yes.
Oh, so sorry, sir. The seats are fully booked.
Hello, ladies.
Good day, ma'am.
How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Please, I need a ticket to Abuja.
Oh, sure.
40,000, ma'am. Okay. Here.
Excuse me. Abuja.
Yes.
But you people told us that tickets are finished. Abi?
When you asked for tickets, there was no ticket.
Exactly.
So this is what you people do. You hoard tickets and use them for your private business. This is the same reason why when we get into the flight, half of the seats are empty.
Oga, you can call Minister of Aviation.
Excuse me? So this is what you do? You owe tickets for your PP? This is corruption and
Not in my country. Stop corruption now.
Corruption not in my country.
ICPC has introduced various initiatives for implementing its campaign against corruption. One of these initiatives is the Religious Leaders Forum, convened because ICPC regards religious leaders as an important channel for carrying the anti-corruption message to their members.
We spoke to a cross-section of Nigerians on the role of religious leaders in the fight against corruption.
Let's we join hands with ICPC, make them better. Let's make Nigeria great again. ICPC, they want to. I want hand for corruption.
As we know in Islam, anything that has to do with corruption does not even need to even start with if you are either working in an office or an organization. Starts immediately with you as a family head. There are corruption in family, the society itself, and the whole wide world. Corruption can start with any basis, starting from you waking up in the morning, not even greeting your wife is part of corruption. For you to curb, what Islam says is that you don't even touch, talk less of you going for the act. So it's always good that if you wake up in the morning, your daily bread, whatever you are going to give, whatever you are going to get, you make sure it's clean. Because if you think you are wise and at the same time you know your ways, even if the society itself that you govern or you work for do not ask you to account for what you did, surely God will ask you. There's an appointed time He's going to ask you. And whatever you are a month in now, whether you like it or not, it's just one way. Once you die, they bury you, you will only be left with what you've done and your conscience in this world.
From my own perspective, I believe religion has a lot of role to play in the fight against corruption, because I think every Nigerian, as per se, has one or two religion organization, any religion that he or she belongs to, and each of them are attached to any of them, and in most cases, these religious leaders, they has a lot of influence over their members. So most of them looked up to them. So whatever, both in behavior, both in the utterances and whatever, both the words that are coming out of their mouth, I believe most of them are looking and they are looking up to them on the direction they want to take as a human being. And those, I believe, those, if they preach against corruption, the followers will key into it. If they also, in their own way of preaching, in their way of addressing to their members,
as the religion in Nigeria has a vital place to play in this country, because most of us, both the Christians and the Muslims, day by day we talk about corruption, directly or indirectly. So what I think that our religious leaders should continue doing is to keep talking about it, and they should live by example. It's not just talking, then behind the door they are doing something else, or collecting money from the politicians. So what do you expect their followers to do? So my candid advice is that Nigerians, both the religious leaders, should just speak and do what they are saying, what they are reading from the holy books. They should act on it. That is my intake on that.
Okay, you know, it is also a common phenomenon.
Yeah.
That people who loot money from their offices
Yes.
go to these places of worship and make huge donations, and then they are being celebrated. What is your advice to
My advice to them is, actually, you know, sometimes they will come and lie. Sometimes it's not the religious leaders' fault. Why sometimes they encourage that? Because they will give you front seats in anywhere you go, you understand? So my own specific advice is, whatever you are doing, is left between you and your God. You please man today, tomorrow you have accounts to give to your maker, and it will affect our generation. There's nothing you can do about it. So our religious leaders should just close their eyes and speak the truth, no matter how bitter it is.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, ma'am.
We're looking at the role of religious leaders in the fight against corruption. We said that Nigeria is a religion-dominated society, and yet the level of corruption still is high. Is it that religion has failed, or that the church or religious bodies are not doing enough?
I'm going to approach it from Christian perspective, because that is what I know very well. Right from the creation of man and the fall of man, corruption entered the world. We are told that when God created Adam and Eve, they were perfect, but they sinned. And when they sinned, they lost favor with God. And since then, God said the inclination of man's mind and heart has been evil, and his ways are corrupt. And this corruption led God to destroy the first world. The world was so corrupt, morally corrupt, materially, everything was just corruption. So since the coming of sin to the world, corruption also came along. So corruption has been increasing ever since then. Now, what has God done? God has brought a provision to change a man's heart, to take the inclination from evil and corruption to what is right and correct. And we believe as a Christian, you need this change of heart that only God can bring. If you have to accept that you are corrupt, you are sinful, and then you ask for God, you ask God for this power, and we believe He gives that power because He has made a provision. He has sent His Son Jesus Christ to the world to die for our sins, and then He died, He rose again, and went to heaven. And with that, if you believe, what God does is to give us a new nature, a new heart that is not disposed to corruption and sin. That is the first thing. So there must be a miracle of a change of life, a change of heart and mind. That is the first beginning. So what is our role as religious leaders? Is first of all to have this new life. The problem is that you cannot give what you don't have. Even the Bible says in Romans chapter 2 and chapter 3, it says, you that steal, do you tell others not to steal? You that commit adultery, do you tell others not to commit adultery? So we too, we are human. And so the provision for change of life and heart is for us also. We must imbibe. Having done that, we have a special role. And the special role we have is, one, to lead exemplary life. If we religious leaders must change this country and take corruption away, we must start by ourselves and by our lifestyle, by our attitude. Within the church, within the system, we must make sure that we are corruption free. That's number one. Because people follow example of leaders. So if we are also corrupt and they see corruption in us, then they will say we are paying lip service to corruption, and so nobody will take us serious. Number two, we need to come to preach against corruption. We must preach against corruption, that corruption is a sin against God. Corruption is a sin against humanity. Corruption destroys a country, destroys the economy, destroys the people's future, lifestyle. It's so bad. So we must preach against it. And that's what we must do. Now, have we failed? I don't think we have. Because when you follow the history of religion and the history of faith, even in Christianity, in the Old Testament, across to the New Testament, we have various prophets whom God appointed to preach. And they were all preaching. But the more they preached, the more we see people going against God's way and going against God's word and perpetrating corruption. So what am I saying? One, we need that change. Two, human memories are also very short. So we need to keep reminding them. That's our own rule. Keep preaching, keep reminding them, keep condemning every act of corruption wherever it is found.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Our religion, especially Islam, has really tried so much enough, but not extremely very enough. Islam as religion has finished everything about corruption, in that Islam, one, advises, it warns, and it gives the possible punishment for any corrupt member of the society. That means any corrupt Muslim. So Islam has tried a lot. And virtually, if you look at the verses and chapters of the Quran, you have more than enough. For example, you go to Quran chapter 2, verse 11, Quran chapter 2, verse 12, Quran chapter 2, verse 30, Quran chapter 2, verse 60, so Surah Al-Ma'idah, that's Quran chapter 7, and the rest of them, talking about corruption. It condemns corruption in so many verses. So much so that Allah has never left a single corruption. Allah has never accepted a single corruption. But where we are lacking and lagging is the issue of religious leaders. Then two, the followers of the leadership. Then three, government, especially the current government we have in town. Now, when I say current, I mean political leaders who are not helping the matters. So, religion itself, Islam, has really given a lot of condemnation on corruption. But what are the Muslim leaders doing? Of course, some Muslim leaders are trying. They preach in mosque against it vehemently, aggressively, but yet some will not want to because of the rudiments, because of the stipends, because of the member or membership. They do not want to lose membership. So it happens even in some churches too. So what I'm saying in essence is Islam has tried, Islam has finished everything, that no one should go near corruption, no matter how minute it is. But what are the leaders doing? Then what are the followers doing? This is a major problem that we have. We believe in Quran, we believe in Islam, we believe in Muhammad, but do we practice that belief exactly the way it ought to have been practiced? And people are already debased. You have them contributing into mischievousness and all forms of corruption. Therefore, Islam has tried, it has given the rulings, the rudiment and what have you. Then it has laid down the possible punishments for whoever engages in corruption.
Let's we join hands with ICPC, make them better. Let's make Nigeria great again. ICPC.
of corruption now. Don't give, don't take. This message is brought to you by ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission.
So why do we have this level of corruption in a religion-dominated society such as Nigeria? Has religion failed, or is it not doing enough? Corruption is a big problem in our country. Do not contribute to the problem by giving in to the pressure to be corrupt.
If you have comments, questions or suggestions, you can reach us on 0800 call ICPC. You can also watch this program via our YouTube channel www.youtube.com/ICPC Nigeria.
Remember that one person can make a difference in the fight against corruption. Thank you for watching and see you again next week. I am Hawasani Garba.
And I am Murna Barnabas Atiai. Bye for now.